Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon here in sunny Panama. We welcome you to our open house. Today, we've put together a nice program to give you a high level overview of our school. That said, we invite you to join us later at a time that's convenient for you so we can give you a personalized tour of ISP and answer all the questions that you have to see if your child is a perfect fit for ISP. We are a nonprofit school. That means that every dollar that you invest in our school goes directly to the students and their education. All the board members are volunteers. And so not a dollar goes into a shareholder's pocket. We can focus solely on what's best for our kids and programming that helps them grow. We're almost 40 years old. We're the oldest school in Panama as far as the international schools go. And we have a very international faculty and staff. But where we're different from a lot of schools is that our student population of 1,200 students is also very diverse. Only about a third of our students are Panamanian, and we have 43 nationalities comprised in our entire student body. We're very student centered, and that's very important. Some schools are teacher centered, some schools are profit centered. We are student centered, and we want to help all of our kids grow. We're in the process of revamping or retooling our mission statement and our strategic planning going forward. But what I know that we do for our students is we help them grow to be amazing kids that grow into adults to make a difference in the world. Our kids learn both soft skills and they learn content. Both are equally important. And to that end, I'm sitting right now in our Fine Arts Center. It's a beautiful, or a Performing Arts Center. It's a beautiful facility where we teach some of these soft skills, not just in the classroom, but outside of school through our theater program, through our arts program, our music program. All of our students from the youngest age up through their senior year have the opportunity to dabble and specialize in these important areas. And creativity, as you'll hear more about, creativity, problem solving, comfort with ambiguity, a sense of understanding the global world. All those things are skills that will make our kids successful in the future. Um, the next slide, please. We're very much a learning organization. You know, Jim Collins always he wrote a book. Good is the enemy of great is what he would always say. And we work very hard to learn and to constantly be better. And one way I can show that off is through our in-person support program. We're the first school in Panama to be able to bring students safely back to campus. We've invested tons of money in biosecurity protocol and supplies and everything to make sure our kids have what they need to safely be here and learn and be back where they should be in the midst of this year-long pandemic. Our teachers and myself are involved in local associations, regional associations, and global associations where we're constantly sharing best practices and learning from others about best practices that work both in terms of having students back on campus, but then just blended learning and what we need to do to continue to evolve as a school. Because of the pandemic, things I think are changed fundamentally forever. So I really want you to know that we love students. We are happy to share with you all the great things that we do. And now I'm going to pass you to one of our fantastic principals. He's our middle school principal, Kyle Martin. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Menard. And hello, everyone. Welcome to ISP and greetings from Panama. Before we jump into talking about preparing students for the best future, I just want you to think, and if you're with someone, maybe talk to them. If you want to add in the chat, that's fun as well. If you think of the end of a school year, of a really successful school year for your son or daughter, what kind of characteristics and qualities would you like to see them exhibit? What kind of things would you like to hear them say? And we like to use that because that's a really good starting point for what we aspire to at ISP. Before I jump into some of the specifics about what we do and what maybe separates ISP from other schools is I'm going to take on a very brief, I promise it'll be short, deep dive on the philosophy and where education started in general. And so it's important to know that education in general, the model was very much created in the industrial era. It was created that one size fits all. We'd give the exact same experience to every student. And if we do that, then they'll all come out exactly the same and be ready for society. And what we're finding is that students in the 21st century and 22nd century, we're rapidly approaching that, of course, need something different. There's a study that's, I'm sure, been shared a number of times, and you've likely seen this, that 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't even been invented yet. If you think back to the time you were in middle school or elementary school, or I was the same, who'd have thunk that a social media consultant or something would be a position? And so what we're doing at ISP is we're moving away from focused on memorizing facts and being able to regurgitate them. And we're shifting to the skills that are to make students and help students be successful in the future. Specific things like collaboration, learning to work effectively with any classmate in any walk of life, any age, any of the above. We really aspire to push creative thinking. We want students to have an imagination, to be innovative. And this happens, as Dr. Menard mentioned, at the staff level as well. We're constantly looking for ways to get better and to improve, because we know that is what our students deserve. Another primary focus of ours is presenting problems to students and giving them a space to find solutions, because very often their imagination and creativity will supersede anything that we could ever come up with. And they might have that great solution to a problem that we're facing now. And so those are our aspirational terms. And when we dive into some specific examples of how we do that, I hope that'll give you a better perspective about really how we approach education here. One essential characteristics for us to accomplish those goals is by exposing students to as many different experiences as we possibly can. Our hope is that by doing so, it's going to help them find their interests and their passions in life. So whether it's our amazing visual and performing arts classes and productions, our STEM classes on the athletic fields, Model UN, Global Issues Network, Bex Robotics, Student Council and Leadership, and the list goes on. Our hope is to have students involved in as many different activities as possible to really find what they're passionate about. Another priority for us in all of our classrooms, pre-K through 12, is that we try to ask really good questions and give students space to find those answers. One example of that is the inquiry model that we use in our classroom. And this concept that by presenting really good questions and letting students kind of wrestle with it, they tune in, they find out, they sort, and then they have a chance to take action and reflect. That's a key pillar in the ISP philosophy. Another one is we have very dynamic lessons. And so our teachers do a really nice job of what's called in the education jargon world of chunking lessons, in that we're no longer lecturing for 40 minutes at the front of a classroom. We're maybe having a quick 5 to 7 minute lecture, giving students an opportunity to process that information in groups. They then maybe get feedback from each other, the teacher, and so forth. And so it's very much that iterative process where they're learning and growing together. Another key component to our program is the use of essential questions. And so in all of our units, again, pre-K through 12, we try to ask these really broad global questions to push their thinking beyond just that classroom and how it applies to the real world. So one example from a social studies unit in the middle school was just, what does it mean to be a good leader? And so it's no longer just studying ancient Greece and memorizing dates and whatnot. It's about processing that information and applying it to our real world. The final thing we really focus on at ISP that helps us accomplish these goals is truly knowing and valuing every single child that comes onto this campus. We really take great pride on knowing what a student loves to do, what they did on the weekend, who their friends are, what they really struggle with. And the way we do that in the pre-K through fifth is primarily through our homeroom program and use of responsive classroom. As they move up through secondary school, we have a really robust advisory program. And so it's this safe space for them to get to know each other and to get to know their classmates and their teachers. With that being said, and just the idea that at ISP, one size does not fit all, and we try to create a unique experience for each child, I'm going to send it over to Mr. Elias Barlow, who's our coordinator of inclusion, and he oversees our team of learning support specialists, including our gifted and talented program. Elias, over to you.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Here at ISP, we have a saying, every child, every day, every way, kind of piggybacking on what Kyle was saying, that we go out of our way to meet the needs of the variety of learners that we encounter at our school. And for us, inclusion at ISP really means that we aspire as a school to be representative of the neurodiversity that we find in the world. That means across grade levels, we have about 10 to 15% of our student population with varying needs. And we believe that having a neurodiverse representation in our school enhances the learning environment for our children and our staff. That means that Your child at ISP will socialize and work with a range of peers with different strengths and different needs, different languages, and different physical abilities, preparing them for the world that they'll encounter when they leave us. This is key for us to developing compassionate and caring leaders for the future. So much of learning is socially driven, and by having a more diverse social student population, we're increasing the capacity of our students and every community member. We truly believe that exposure to diversity challenges students and staff to think critically and become leaders able to challenge assumptions and explore alternative approaches to solutions for real world problems. This is important for our understanding our culture of inclusivity at our school. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. At our school, in order to kind of meet the needs of the variety of learners that we have, we use a multi-tiered systems of support approach for all of our learners. This includes our EAL, our learning support, and our gifted learners, as well as students who may fall under the umbrella of our counseling services. As we're doing that, we're giving consideration to the whole child as they learn and grow through our school. This means we consider the social and emotional well-being, their behaviors, and academics. Fundamental to all of this is kind of teachers who create inclusive classrooms that plan for the variability of learners that they encounter. When they're planning, they're thinking about their EAL learners, they're thinking about their learning support students, and they're thinking about their gifted. And key to this is having our specialists, our EAL teachers, our learning support teachers, and our counselors working with classroom teachers to support and meet the needs of learners in the classroom as much as possible. Beyond our inclusive classrooms, we provide targeted support with learning support, English as an additional language, and our advanced learner program and counseling. These services are not a one-way street. These are a family and school partnership, and we offer the range of supports. What they may look like is our counselors reaching out and working with teachers and families to provide social emotional support in and out of the classroom. This also means planning and supporting new students as they transition into our school for the first time, and all the way to picking the right college when they move on to their next steps. Our learning support team, as I mentioned, works with classroom teachers, but also provides targeted interventions in reading, writing, math, social skills, and executive functioning. This could look like supporting students on the spectrum of autism to develop social skills necessary to interact with peers and teachers, to supporting a student who's gifted, but also diagnosed with ADHD, to work on organizational and intentional skills to manifest their potential. For our advanced learners program, we identify students through universal screening in the 2nd and 3rd grade, and we work to provide both academic and counseling support for gifted students as they journey through our school. This can include in-class extension, subject area acceleration, and if needed, grade level acceleration. Our EAL program provides targeted language support in and out of the classroom and uses the WIDA in order to benchmark and track growth as they move through the grades. And additionally, as we work to meet the needs of all of our learners at our school, we've transitioned into blended learning, which helps to provide even further opportunities for students to engage in learning. I'd like to pass the mic to Summer Alcouture, our blended learning specialist.
Hi, good afternoon and welcome. This past year has taught us to be flexible and ready for anything. And blended learning is a model that ISP is implementing, and it uses technology to give students some choice over the pace, the place, and the structure of their learning. This has allowed ISP to be prepared for multiple learning scenarios and adapt quickly to keep students learning during the current pandemic. But beyond the pandemic, it also connects teachers and students globally to each other, to career experts, and to other schools. Learning experiences aren't limited to school any longer and can happen anywhere, in a physical classroom on campus, at home in Panama, or all around the world. And one way we're achieving this goal is to provide elementary school students with an iPad from ISP. And we also give all middle and high school students the choice to bring the laptop or the tablet of their choice. In addition, ISP invests in multiple digital learning tools, software, devices, apps. You can see 3D printers behind me. And we use these to empower students for active learning, to create content, to show what they know and what they can do, and to think critically to solve problems in their community. With the tools we have available, students might create a video, they might record a podcast, they might build a website, they might create a 3D model, they might create an app, They'll collaborate with students or experts here in Panama or in other countries, and the list goes on. And as both Elias and Kyle mentioned, ISP uses digital tools to create a more personalized learning experience for each student. Now, this might look like a teacher using their learning management system to create menus or playlists with different resources so that students have multiple pathways for how they learn a new skill or concept. Teachers can conference with students in person, through video chat, in small groups, or individually to track progress and to reflect where a student is successful and what is challenging for them. Another quick example of personalized learning is a website we use called Nozella. This is a library of articles in both English and Spanish that are adapted. Each article is adapted to multiple different reading levels. So students have access to reading and learning materials no matter where they are on their journey to learn a new language. Additionally, technology provides faster feedback loops and additional interactions between students and teachers, between students and students, and between teachers and parents. A teacher might use an interactive slide deck, like a Google Slides, with students, and they can instantly respond to questions, which give all students the opportunity to communicate and engage. Whereas sometimes orally in the classroom, only a few students can talk at a time. We have tools that will allow everyone to interact all the time. And the teacher can use these responses and the answers to these questions and these assessments to tailor the next lesson based on the needs of each student. Another example, even for younger students, is that students can create short videos or audio clips, and they can explain their thinking or how they solved a problem. And teachers can respond with written or audio feedback in addition to any in-class dialogue they're having. So these digital tools speed up the process of monitoring progress, and they identify areas where students need additional support more quickly, or identify where a student excels and needs to accelerate to new content. It also ensures that students, parents, and teachers have multiple avenues for communication. Can you move to the next slide, please? These are the standards that we employ at the International School of Panama in order to make sure that all of our classes are using technology in a way that expands and enhances learning. And these are called the ISTE standards. But as I mentioned, we want to ensure that this is a partnership between parents, students, and teachers. And so speaking of parents, I want to introduce you to Chris Berghaus, who is the father of 4 ISP dolphins. Chris, can you talk more about why ISP is the right choice for your family?
Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to make your virtual acquaintance. I've got 4 kids at ISP in grades 10, 8, 5, and 3. So that means I've got a high schooler, middle schooler, and 2 elementary school kids. As a career diplomat, I've lived in a bunch of countries all over the world. And as we were in one of our prior posts, looking at where to send our kids to school in Panama, resoundingly, ISP came to the top of the list. We had heard about ISP's background, the history, the quality of education, and it was apparent from all of the people we spoke with that ISP was the place to go. So what sets ISP apart from the other schools in Panama? You know, for us, something that's really important is the fact that ISP is a nonprofit school. It's the only of the international schools that is a nonprofit. And as a parent, that's important to me. It's because we're not sending the money off to some shareholders or others. The money is being reinvested in the school. And so that means that the resources for the teachers, for the facilities, technology, it's all focused on the students. So that's a really big point for us as a family. It's also the oldest and most well-established of the international schools and the largest. With a large student body population, it offers a really broad range of different programs that cater to a variety of needs, which is helpful. The ISP's strong reputation lets it recruit high caliber teachers, and that obviously is of high interest to me as a parent. It's the Department of State sponsored school, so that means there's a special relationship between the US Embassy and ISP, and that has a myriad of benefits as well. As was already mentioned briefly, there are some advantages that ISP has in terms of its curriculum programs, and maybe it's worth highlighting just a couple. Last year, ISP had a live session with the International Space Station. So kids from ISP were able to ask questions of astronauts in space in real time. That's the first time that's happened with this school outside of the United States and Canada. Amazing opportunity being in the audience and having a chance to see the enthusiasm and interaction that was going on. There have been other linkages with other major institutions and organizations as well. They've got, on the science vein of things, there's a weather balloon project where kids send weather balloons tens of thousands of feet up in the atmosphere to conduct experiments. They're recording things, amazing type of activities that are happening. I appreciate the COVID response right now. ISP has done the best job of any school that I'm aware of in Panama about preparing for the COVID-19 return to school. Panama's school has been offline for a year. It's been amazing and horrific that it's been closed for so long. But ISP has done an amazing job of staying focused, complying with all the health regulations, having the protocols and procedures in place to be able to reopen the school in a safe way. My kids started returning for in-person learning support last week, and it's been amazing seeing the change. And everything from the social distancing to the busing timing to all of the safety protocols they put in place make it a place where we feel certainly more than comfortable sending our kids back to in-person schooling. And they're just thrilled to be back. One thing we're looking for starting in the near term are some of the athletic programs, which ISP has some particularly strong ones. And I'll pass it over to Fernando to talk a little bit about those programs as well.
Thank you, Chris. And I just wanted to ask first, can you imagine a higher percentage of children and youth choosing to stay active throughout the school years? Could you imagine a higher percentage of adults and seniors pursuing a sport of their choice or being physically active for life? Well, a successful positive experience in sport can make that happen. The goal of quality sport is to create positive experiences in supportive environments. Ultimately, if sport participation and physical activity isn't fun, progressive, positive, or welcoming, children, youth, and adults alike will turn to other activities that may be much less healthy. Quality sport is developmentally appropriate, safe and inclusive, and well-run. Another way of saying this is that quality sport consists of good programs led by good people in good places. Simply put, quality sport means more physically active kids and adults holistically developed. Healthy individuals in turn can make positive contributions to society. ISP operates a high quality, competitive, and educational based sports program in which we have sportsmanship at the core of our mission. We develop the entire student, not just the athletic side. Our program brings communities together, encourages diversity, teaches discipline, and prepares the student for life. We also provide an extension of the classroom to be a teaching environment. What is the value of educational-based athletics? Well, it's taking educational principles back to the athletic field and empowering those athletes to become better, to become motivated, and to achieve higher levels of performance, both in the classroom, field, and life. We encourage the students to embrace, belong, and participate in as many different experiences as possible throughout their time at ISP. And for that, we provide a wide range of opportunities: basketball, flag football, soccer, swimming, tennis, track and field, volleyball, starting from third grade up, and also throughout the after-school program and the rest of the activities that we have to offer. At ISP, participation in athletics is far more than winning and losing games. We do want to win, and we win, but we also go beyond to inspire the students to learn and develop through sports. Our enduring hope is that the lessons learned in the sports arena will remain with our students for a lifetime. Our program focuses on a three-dimensional approach: developing first, the fundamentals of the sport; second, developing the mind; and third, the moral character. We strongly believe, one more time, that athletics is an integral part of education. We provide our students the opportunity to learn from victory and defeat through our program, and also through our competitions. A more ethical approach to athletics is sportsmanship. Under our sportsmanship model, healthy competition is seen as a means of cultivating personal honor, virtue, and character. It contributes to a community of respect and trust between competitors and society. The goal in sportsmanship is to pursue victory with honor by giving one's best effort. Ethics in sport requires 4 key features that we emphasize in all of our practices and competitions: fairness, integrity, responsibility, and respect. This model is built on the idea that sport both demonstrates and also encourages character development, which then influences the moral character of the whole school community. How we compete and train can have an effect on our personal moral and ethical behavior outside of the competition. ISP is also part of the Association of American Schools of Central America, ASCA, which is a group of 28 international schools spanning 6 different countries. ASCA is our biggest priority for international competitions and includes an annual under-19 tournament in volleyball, basketball, soccer, and under-14 and under-19 tournaments in the individual sports of tennis, track and field, and swimming. We're also proud to say that we have been recognized with the National Federation of State High School Association School Honor Roll Program due to the level of professional training our coaches have received. We are the first school in Latin America and the second school in the world to be recognized. The International School of Panama has earned level 1 status with the NFHS School Honor Roll Program. This U.S. national distinction honors the dedication and commitment that ISP and coaches have to our students and to educational-based programs. Our coaches have been equipped with research-based and student-centered curriculum. We value the professional development of our coaches and the learning experience of our students. Our commitment to professional development creates a better experience for the young people participating. Our coaches are fundamentally sound, skilled at coaching the mind, and focused on developing the heart. And speaking to recognitions and certificates, let me introduce you to Michael Williams, our English and History high school teacher, that will talk about how we're building a better world, one critical thinker at a time.
Thank you, Fernando, and greetings all. At ISP, our notion of sportsmanship is not limited to the athletic fields. We understand that we're part of an increasingly interconnected world, and our school is living proof that we can share a world and that we can care for our world. It's in our mission that we educate and inspire our students to reach their full potential and contribute to the world, contribute to building a better world. And as a high school history teacher, I am forced to ponder about my role and how I too can contribute. So I ask myself, am I putting students at the center of their learning? Am I empowering them as leaders by putting them in positions to think, act, and do? Am I asking them questions, questioning the text, asking them to question the author, question themselves and the world around them? Do I put them in a process to inquire about and reflect on the society we live in? So as we move to the next slide, I'd like you all to imagine your daughter or son being presented with a challenge, like addressing discrimination against children with disabilities, or determining measures to stabilize the tensions in the Libyan civil war, or even how to address the impact of COVID-19 on increasing inequality in Latin America. Then they must research the issue and develop a solution as if they represented Malaysia or Tanzania or El Salvador. What would be their point of view? How would they approach it? And when they convene with over 500 students from schools from across 12 different countries, they find that they must collaborate, negotiate, and debate something that has true meaning. If you can picture that, then you must know that this is Panama, our model UN conference that we host yearly, and it epitomizes how we at ISP develop critical thinkers who address real world problems and are thus ready to build a better world. There's extreme value in applying learning in meaningful ways. If we can go to the next slide. It's important for us to understand that allowing students the opportunity to examine various perspectives and explore why people may hold certain points of view and even to explore solutions to critical problems is essential. Just like our sports program is more than just about competition, our academic learning has meaning well beyond the classroom walls. My 10th grade history students are currently examining poetry during the apartheid era of South Africa to determine what it tells us about how people resisted oppressive political institutions and how they used writing and literature to articulate their visions of a new South Africa. Their examination of how South Africans used critical thinking to make their world a better place is not lost on any of them or on any of us. And with that, I think I'd like to pass it to Ms. Helmi Porras.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your time and for being here with us. I know I don't have the ideal lighting. I just wanted to show you our beautiful campus. I'm right outside the Performing Arts Center and by the entrance of our school. I'm the head of the enrollment and records team. And we're very aware that choosing a school for your family is not an easy decision. That's why we want to make sure that ISP is the right fit for you. In that sense, this is the best place to start. In these few minutes, you've heard firsthand from our amazing team about all the essential elements that your children will experience at ISP. If these elements align with your educational priorities, then you're in the right place. Our entire enrolling admissions process takes place online, so you're able to secure a seat for your children even before you move to Panama, in case you're abroad. And to answer one of the questions that I received recently, as soon as we're done with this open house, we will email you with a recording of this open house so you can share with the rest of your family if that's what you want to do. And we'll also share what the next steps are to get started with the admissions process if you want to enroll in ISP. Our admissions process has three main phases. The first one would be the online application, where we will send you a link where you will upload all the required documents as well as any complimentary information about each student. This, for example, is the best moment for you to share your children's diagnosis and or specific learning plans to share with our learning support and gifted and talented specialists that we have on campus. From there, we go to the getting to know you better phase. And being student-centered starts here because even before we admit prospective students, we want to make sure that we get to know them, not only on paper. And once all the documentation has been received, we move forward with the assessments or interviews required per school based on the grade where your child will be enrolling. For example, our early childhood program, we might invite your child to an on-campus play date with other students. For elementary school, we will administer an English reading assessment. And for middle school and high school, we do interviews with our principals and counselors, again, to get to know your children better and make sure we can guide them through a smooth transition at ISP. From there, we move on to the third phase of the admissions process. Obviously, then we go into orientation and everything else. But the third phase would be the offer letter. So once we've completed the first two phases, we will move forward to review your family's application in the enrollment committee and communicate our decision and next steps. If there's a specific learning plan or there's a specific need for one of your children, this would be the moment where we have a conversation about what that looks like and what our partnership is going to look like during their first days and the rest of their educational journey at ISP. We honestly can't wait to meet all of you and guide you and support you through the enrollment process to become part of such a unique place. Here you'll find my contact information, but again, remember, I will email you between today and tomorrow at the latest. And to close on the highest note possible, I'm going to introduce you to Antonio Dominguez, who's a fantastic 9th grade student, who's going to share with you directly his very special perspective about why there is no place like ISP.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate that you took some minutes out of your busy schedule to come learn about ISP. I promise I won't take long. So as Ms. Helmi introduced me, my name is Antonio Dominguez and I'm a 9th grader student here at ISP. And I've been at ISP since 3rd grade, so I have my fair share of years here at ISP. Before that, I used to go to another school where I was very stuck. And what I mean by that is I couldn't grow as a student and it wasn't the best environment for me. I was actually diagnosed with ADHD at that end. The school was unable to help me transition through my challenges. So my family decided that it was best to change schools to ISP. And here at ISP, I have not only grown as a student, but I've been able to grow as an individual learner and as a modern citizen of the 21st century. ISP has taught me to pursue excellence and the importance of continued learning outside of school. I also consider myself very lucky as I'm a very involved student in extracurricular activities. Luckily, I go to a school that provides me both athletic and VAPA facilities. Due to this, I've had the privilege of being able to participate in multiple events that have impacted me in a very positive way. ISP is also a very tight community and has something for everyone. There are so many opportunities to get involved in clubs or after school activities. You could be learning from global politics to human rights, or maybe even poetry or synthetic biology. Yet my favorite part about ISP is all the more special. As we've learned today through the many panelists, ISP prides itself in inclusion, celebrating diversity, collaboration, innovation, and overall positivity on campus. Everyday learning at ISP prepares its students, us, to unlimited opportunities in a world that is constantly changing. We as a school empower students, parents, teachers, and faculty members to be the best version of themselves. Through collaboration and persistence, we strive for excellence, and I've been lucky enough to have been part of it. So to finish it off, I'll leave a quote by one of my favorite Greek philosophers, Socrates. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. This proves extremely true here at ISB, and this is why I consider this school the best option for anyone who's a thinker, a learner, or an innovator. And I'm not just saying that because I'm blatantly biased, but because I truly believe it. Because if you're a dolphin, once a dolphin, always a dolphin. And again, thank you for your patience and devoted attention. We really hope to see you again.
Thank you, Antonio, for your fantastic words. So it's back to me, and now I will guide you through a few questions that we've received through our platform. And maybe I'll start with Mr. Munson, our high school principal, because we do have a few questions. The first one is, how is ISP performance in IB tests, as well as how many students are following the IB program at ISP? And I think there's another one in terms of the certificates or the degree options that we offer starting in 10th grade. Mr. Munson?
So hello, hopefully you can all hear me. And thank you, just like everybody else has said, for being here today. I can talk briefly about the IB. Our students have done very well historically in the IB program. We consistently score above the world average on the IB exams. Recently, in the last 2 years, our students scored 10% above the world average, which was the goal of our strategic plan, and our students were able to meet that. We also had a 100% pass rate. And so we've done very, very well, especially in the last couple of years with the IB. How many of the other questions were?
Other questions were, when they reach 10th grade, what are the degree options?
So there's, let me get one other with IB, which is currently about 60 to 70% of our students in a grade level will do the IB diploma. So just to give you an idea, 100% of our students will basically do the IB program at some level, either a certificate or the diploma. But about 65% will complete the full diploma. And then to get to the other question, the degree options, basically, if you imagine a large umbrella, the ISP diploma is the overarching diploma that we award as an institution. Under that, a student can choose to do the IB diploma. And so if they choose to take the IB diploma classes, they will end up with an ISP diploma and an IB diploma. Some students choose to do the ISP umbrella, the IB diploma, and also the Maduka diploma. So those students will graduate actually with 3 different diplomas if they go that route. Now, a student can choose to go to the other end and do the ISP diploma only. And some students, that's the best path for them because of where they're headed for university or their life after ISP. We strongly encourage every one of our students to do the Maduka diploma. And we want to encourage everybody to do that while they're getting their ISP diploma, because that does create more opportunities for you. And so we do strongly encourage that, although it is not technically right now a requirement. The last option is some students who do not want to do the IB diploma do what we call an Innovation and Entrepreneur Certificate. And so they choose to take some IB classes, but because of their interest in technology and some other areas, they choose to do the IEC certificate. Those students will get the ISP diploma, they can get IB certificates, and they can get the Innovation Entrepreneurial Certificate. And again, they could also get a Maduka diploma. So we offer quite a few different pathways for students, and we encourage kids to take advantage and create as many opportunities and options for themselves at graduation as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Munson. We do have other questions. We have one about what our English, how's the extra support program for students that do not speak English? That would be, I think, more directed towards Elias.
Sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. It says, I would like to know, how is the extra support program for students that do not speak English?
So students who come to our school are going to be assessed upon entrance, and based on that assessment, we will determine where their needs are going to be best served. If that is with English, and depending on the grade level, we will put them into an English as an additional language course if they're in the middle school or high school. And then there are English as an additional language teachers that begin to support in kindergarten and up. Our PK program has English language embedded within its curriculum.
Perfect. Thank you. We have another question regarding the schedule for the August semester. Is it going to be a return to campus? It's a long question, but basically what is our August semester going to look like? And maybe I'll throw that towards Dr. Menard.
Sure, I'd be happy to take that one. Well, our goal is to have all the children back on campus as soon as we can in a safe manner. We do have the constraints of the local government, and so we do have to work closely with Maduka and Mensa to make sure that we follow all the laws of this country. But they've worked really well with us up to this point, and we do expect to have as many children back in person in August as possible. Thank you.
And then we have quite a few questions regarding onboarding or orientation for new students, specifically that come from other countries. So most of our students do come from other countries, and we have sort of an orientation plan for them depending on the school. But in general, right now we've had to manage all of them virtually. Hopefully for the next orientation, we're more in person. I don't know if maybe principals want to talk specifically to what they're doing for onboarding support for new students.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. Hi, I'm Joyce Meininger. I'm the elementary school principal here at ISP. For this year, those students that joined us that were new to ISP, they had never entered our campus if they began anytime after March 12th last year. So our counselors did a special session where they toured the students and they got to see the campus. We have monthly new student lunches that again would happen in person when we're back to that, to have that ability, but currently happen virtually with our school counselors and then all other new students. We also have new family. Currently, they're kind of run like a town hall. Again, they've been virtual, but historically those have been on campus where we bring families in to get familiar with the facility as well as the programs here, and more than anything, get to know one another. So this year, when we've done that virtually, we've created breakout rooms. So at least you get to know families from the other classrooms and the other new to ISP students and families. So students don't feel alone when they join a group, whether in person or virtually, but also so parents have a support network.
At the high school, just to jump in, I would say that we have what's called a Link Crew program. So for all new students and also for all 8th graders who are transitioning to 9th grade, we bring them in a day before school starts, and we do about a half-day program of team building and helping the students get to know each other, but also they work in small groups, about 8 grade 9 students or new students with 2 upperclassmen. And those upperclassmen will work with them throughout the year to try and make sure that they feel comfortable at school, answer questions that they have, show them around school, just be a mentor for them. I was fortunate, I had a big brother who was in high school before me. So when I came to high school, my big brother could be that mentor. And so this program is meant to create an opportunity for these students to have that kind of a big brother experience, big brother, big sister. So that's the program that we offer at the high school, and we are the first school in Latin America to offer that program, which is a program that's in all 50 states and all the provinces of Canada. So it's a very well-known program called Link Crew, but it's exceptional to have at ISP.
Hello, my name is Alida Garcia Perez, and I'm the PK principal. I also want to add that not only we onboard our students, but we also invite families in to get to know our program. So our counselors has a month session where they talk about conscious discipline and many other social emotional learning opportunities for both families and students. Thank you.
And I suppose if the other principals have spoken, I might as well jump in. From a middle school standpoint, it's very similar to what Eric had mentioned about high school. We do invite all new students onto campus before the actual start of the school year, and they meet with a student ambassador, so someone who's been at the school and who we've identified as a really strong member of our community who's going to kind of help, as Eric said, take that student, your child, under their wing. And so they come in early. We have a chance to make sure they're set up for that first day of school. They have their computers ready to go. They know their schedule. They have a tour of campus, and so they know where things are. But the most important part is that they have a face that they can go to when they have questions. So they have an opportunity to play games, to build a relationship with a few new friends, so that on that first day, that can often be very daunting for any student, they have someone that they know they can go to and partner with if they have questions about that.
Thank you for that very complete answer from all our principals. We have a few questions regarding our early childhood program, so our PK3, PK4 program. I don't know, Alida, if maybe you could do sort of a brief introduction into that. And they're asking whether it's fun and child-centered learning or more teacher-directed.
For sure. Our program is play-based. We also have multi-age groups in each classroom. We have 3 and 4-year-olds in a class because we truly believe in the concept of families, of community. And throughout the years, that has really proven that that's the best way for our students to learn. Our program, everything that we do is related to the child. So what we do studies of things that are part of their everyday life. And as Kyle was mentioning, we start with a question about simple things in their life, like a share, and if you think a share, what is a share? Well, a share, you can talk about capacity, you can talk about colors, you can talk about patterns, but kids can relate to a share. Or pipes, so it's very, very common areas to our that kids are familiar with. And as I said, it's all play-based. We work through choice areas. Kids get to choose, negotiate, and work in groups every day. And I think that the most special part of our programs, everything is special, but one of the most special is that all our teachers are early childhood experts. They really care, and they really focus on the developmental needs of each of their students. So it's based on the principles of the creative curriculum, and we have Reggio Emilia inspired ideas, but it's truly a mixture of everything, and it's more our own program, and it's based on the needs of our students. Thank you.
Well, on that high note, I think we're pretty much, we've gone through most of the questions. And I would like to, again, thank you so much for your time on behalf of the whole team. We will email you after this call, so you have our contact information and can coordinate an information session if you'd like to go through more specific questions regarding your family. And again, thank you on behalf of the team. We'll wave the dolphin wave to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody.